28.
For all of you who are with us, thanks for joining us for this town hall meeting. Just to give you a bit of an update on what we're going to be doing in terms of our competitions from a judging and competitors perspective. We are just waiting for some more numbers to come onto the live stream, but we all hope and wish that you're all doing well given the current situation out there across the country, particularly here in Victoria. Obviously we're going through our second lockdown, and New South Wales is obviously having a few issues that are popping up. So hopefully they can get on top of it so we don't get any worse, which can only prolong the agony for us here and for everyone around the country. So hopefully we can get on and get over this thing and all work together to try and get our nationals rebooted, which will bring some level of joy to all of us, I'm sure. And even just catching up with everyone and seeing everyone again and tasting some tasty coffee will buoy our spirits, I'm sure. So as I said, we're just waiting on a few more people. We're up to about 30, so we're waiting on another 20 odd to join us. And I'll go through some specifics on each of the competitions and what we will be doing in terms of judging and what the competitors need to be looking out for and know about. But as Kieran's already pointed out, we do have the three scenarios that are before us. When all of the situations that need to occur, we will know, and we will certainly keep you informed as we know. But as Kieran pointed out, the third option in terms of a digital nationals is a very exciting prospect for all of the competitors, judges, sponsors, and everyone to do with ASCA, just to have that live stream throughout the world when there's nothing else to watch will obviously increase the potential of everyone's brand, whether you be a competitor, a sponsor, or even just ASCA's brand globally, which will benefit all of us in the long run. So we wait and see. It is a fluid situation, as Kieran pointed out, and we have limited amounts of information we can give you. Once we have clarity from government regulations with regards to what we can and can't do, we will certainly communicate that to you as soon as possible. But all being said, towards the end of the year, we are going to reboot our competition. So you guys who haven't been practicing should get out there and get practicing. I know that might be difficult for some of you, but do the best you can, because we want to put on a great show, obviously, for us here in Australia and for all those who are going to be watching around the world. So we look forward to that coming to fruition, as long as all of the other conditions can be met.
We're at 39, and you're absolutely getting destroyed in the comments right now.
And apparently I'm getting destroyed in the comments, but just remember who puts the scores in the boxes. And who picks the judging panels for the other ones. I've got to see those comments later. Might give it another minute or two, and then I'm going to kick off.
Yeah,
we'll give it another minute, and then we will kick off. We don't know how many have we lost?
We're at 39 right now.
39. All right, so we're pretty good. Most people are seeming to work it out.
Yep, let's do it.
All right, well, I'll just kick off, and all of this information will be available post this town hall meeting, and we will be putting things up on the ASCA website, which will confer everything that we are transmitting to you, and we will keep you up to date through EDMs and our newsletter. So, obviously, we're trying to reboot our national competitions. We will and have a full intention of running all of our competitions as they were set out to run earlier in the year in March. So the purpose of the new judging and protocols that have been handed out by WCE and relevant authorities are there to protect us all. So with that in mind, the purpose of this is to minimise cross-contamination during the competition, in particular while judging. So it'll still allow the head judge to have a meaningful interaction with the sensory judges and support them and the judging panels throughout the competition and during the deliberation. Obviously, the head judge's main role is to look after the competitor and make sure that they have everything they need and they can flawlessly execute their performances. So even though we are going to minimise the cross-contamination or any possibility of cross-contamination between drinks from the head judge, it will be done in a way that the head judge can still meaningfully interact and support the sensory judges. So please note that all the protocols that I'm going to go through have no impact on the competitor's performance. So if you're a competitor, you will just put on your performance as you see. All of these protocols will be incumbent upon the judges and the head judge to fulfill, but we are making you plainly aware of how we're going to run that so that nothing comes as a surprise to you while you're in competition. So for the Barista Championships, the head judge will not drink from any of the beverages served to the sensory judges. Okay, this will not affect the head judge's role in overseeing the competition and leading the deliberation with the sensory judges after your performance is complete. The sensory judges obviously will be well calibrated, they're very experienced and they are very comfortable with rule-based evaluations of the beverages you will provide to them. Obviously, all the judges have gone through judges' workshops. They've already judged during our regional competitions, and the best of the best have been hand-selected to judge our national competitions. So rest assured, even though the head judge is not tasting your drinks, the sensory judges on those panels will be extremely well calibrated. They will have plenty of experience under their belt, and they will be comfortable with rule-based interpretations of your drinks. So bear that in mind. The competitors should not make any extra drinks for the head judge. I'll stress that point. Competitors do not need to make any extra drinks for the head judge. All you need to do is make the drinks for the sensory judges that are on your panel or the taste judges. This new rule will be enforced throughout the current competition season of 2020. If a competitor serves a drink to anyone other than the 4 sensory judges, that drink will not be consumed by the head judge or any other judge and will not be evaluated. So bear that in mind. If you make an extra one, it will not be evaluated at all. They're the only major changes for the Barista Championships. For the Brewers Cup, for the open and compulsory service, each sensory judge will have a cup or a cupping bowl large enough to fit a cupping spoon as a head judge sample cup. ASCA will provide those cupping bowls. It is not on the competitors to bring anything other than their normal table setup. So the table will be set with an extra bowl in front of each of the sensory judges and an accompanying cupping spoon that will be used to transfer some of your beverage into that cup for the head judge to evaluate. So before tasting, the sensory judges must stir the competitor's coffee 3 times and transfer 4 spoons of liquid using the designated sample spoon that we will provide from the beverage served into the head judge's sample bowl, which will be provided by us. We will make sure that the judges are fully aware of their responsibilities to do this function. As a competitor, all you need to do is serve your final drinks in the final vessel in front of the sensory judges, and the sensory judges will take over the rest. So each of the sensory judges will have 1 spoon for taking these samples and a separate spoon for tasting their coffee that's for them to evaluate. The head judge will not taste directly from the final beverage served to the sensory judges. The head judge will taste from that sample cup that the sensory judges have transferred the liquid into. This allows for a uniform sensory evaluation in the open service and also allows the judges to reference for brewing and coffee defects in the compulsory service. So the sensory judges assess the competitor's coffee as normal after removing the sample for the head judge using the tasting spoon that's been provided by ASCA. That's all the requirements for Brewers Cup. In SIGs, so coffee and good spirits, the head judge will not drink from any of the beverages served to any of the taste judges. We will not be enlisting the judge's protocol whereby the head judge will insert a straw and taste from that. We are not going to use this as an evaluation method. The WC reps have decided that it will be more cumbersome to do that and serves very little positive outcome in terms of the judging. Again, the judges on the coffee and good spirits panels will be experienced. They will be very well calibrated, and you have nothing to fear from the head judge not having sampled your drink. In all instances, for barista and for coffee and good spirits, the head judge will be very mindful of the technical evaluation. The head judges will be looking for all of the technical anomalies that may occur during your performances that will relate to a specific difference in the scoring on the sensory panel. So the head judge, his role is going to be more looking at a technical perspective so that they can relay any differences on the sensory panel once the evaluation is done in the calibration room. So this is more in line with what WCE do in terms of the semi-finals and finals, where there isn't a technical judge and the head judge takes on that role. So we are effectively taking on that sort of protocol in coffee and good spirits and in barista. So the head judge will be looking at it from a technical perspective to be able to provide insight to any anomalies that may occur across the sensory panels. For Roasters Comp, so Roasters Comp will proceed as normal in effect from the competitor's perspective. So there's no difference in what's going to happen there. We will be doing the prelim rounds earlier than we have our finals, obviously. So the judges, the only difference will be for the judges, which won't affect any of the competitors' performances, but the judges will use the modified SCA cupping protocols in their evaluation of the samples. So for the Roasters Comp, we will be sending out in the next couple of months the preliminary samples that you can roast and send in, and they will be evaluated by Craig and the team, and then that will be shortlisted to the top 10 competitors, which will then go on to the Roasters Comp final, which will be held at Criteria Coffee, subject to obviously our travel being allowed, and then we will take it from there in terms of the judging protocols. The only thing not affected in our suite of competitions is obviously latte art, because there's no tasting involved in there. Latte art will proceed as normal. So there are no changes to latte art. So that's all the competitions that we are running and the different formats and the different judging protocols that we'll be using, in particular for the head judges in the main. I would implore everyone to remain flexible. You will need to be nimble. We will need to fit into a production schedule because obviously going with a digital format, we are going to have other constraints that potentially we didn't have in a normal setting. All of that is unknown at this point in time. We will advise you once we know exactly what the format will be and what the timing will be in terms of a schedule. But as you can imagine, it's a complicated process, and we will be working with a production team of a camera crew and a production manager to make sure that our digital nationals looks like the real deal. And it will be the real deal, but that may mean we do 12 to 15 hour days. So we will inform you of what we're going to be needing you to do and what your time is and what your schedule is as soon as we can possibly muster that document up. But I would implore you to just be flexible and be nimble and try to work with us to produce the best nationals we possibly can. And as Kieran has already mentioned, depending on whether there is an actual 2020 world competition, our 2020 national champions will go on to represent Australia in the 2021 season of Worlds when they are on. So we will have more time to run our regional competitions throughout the entire year, as opposed to being pigeonholed to the months between September and early January, February of that year, which will allow us greater flexibility and better competitions throughout the regionals, and hopefully get better champions at the end. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to put them through on the live chat or send them through to baristaguild@aasca.com, and Dave will pass me those questions and I'll endeavour to answer all of those for you right now. if there are specific competition questions where you require a ruling for your particular competition, please send them through to competitions@aasca.com and they will be answered to you privately, as I will run that by the reps to get an official ruling for you. So this isn't the forum for any official questions that have anything to do with your routine or require a ruling. Please send them through to competitions@aasca.com and we will answer them directly to you. At this point in time, what I'd like to do is take questions on anything that wasn't clear in the information that I've just provided you with regards to how we will be tasting and what the head judges' roles are in terms of our nationals for this year. So I'll just see what comes in on.
Yeah, we've got a couple of questions here. David Train asks, in Brewers Cup, can we decant into the head judges' cup for them, or must it go to the sensory judges, stirred 3 times, and then 4 spoons given to the head judge?
The sensory judge, all you need to do is serve your final beverage in your final vessel in front of the sensory judges. The sensory judges will do any of the decanting for the head judge. So there's no compulsion for the competitor to do anything bar serving their final vessel with their final brew in front of the sensory judge. The judges will take care of the rest. So your routine should not change at all. Place your final vessel with your final brew in front of the sensory judge. The judges will do the rest.
Following on from that, Yanina asks, so Brewers judges will sip from a bowl or cup with a spoon?
The Brewers, yes, the sensory judges will have a designated spoon to be tasting with from the final vessel that you serve your beverage in, which will be different to the head judge's bowl and the spoon used to decant from your final beverage into the head judge's bowl.
This is a Barista Championship question from Anthony Douglas. Just confirming, national barista competitions will still be run with 2 tech judges, but the head judge directing more focus on tech.
That's correct. So the head judge will be focusing more on tech. There will be 2 technical judges. Unless we have a situation where we do not have enough judges or we are compromised, there may well be 1 technical judge, but there will certainly, the intention is to have 2 technical judges, and the head judge will be having a more technical focus because they won't be tasting the drinks, so that if any anomalies happen from a technical perspective, that can be relayed into any sensory anomalies on the score sheets for the sensory judges.
I think we might just wait for the stream to catch up.
That's okay. We're just waiting for the stream to catch up for any other questions that may be out there for competitors. As I said, if you have any direct questions that relate to a ruling for your specific routine, please send them through in private on competitions@aasca.com. At this point in time, anything that's got to do with how we're running the competition and any variations that I've outlined, please feel free to jump on the live chat and give us some questions, and I'll endeavour to answer them to the best of our ability. Again, I'll just stress to you all, competitors that are out there and judges, we do need to be quite nimble and quite flexible once we get to the nationals, whenever that is, and in whatever circumstances or situation we find ourselves in, just to make it go as smoothly as possible. It's going to be a team effort, obviously. Obviously, the judges are going to do everything to support the competitors as best we can, and we're just going to need a little bit of help from you competitors to just be nimble enough, to be flexible enough, to just work with the schedules that we're going to have to put up. We're going to endeavour to give you all of the practice time, setup times, and competition time that you require. There may be some changes to those timings depending upon how much time we have and the setup we have, depending on, again, which format we take and which scenario we need to follow, given the restrictions. But we will make you aware of those as soon as we know.
Okay, another follow-up question from David Train. To clarify Yanina's question, the head judge will only taste by cupping spoon, not drinking the beverage in Brewers, or can we ask the head judge to drink from their designated vessel?
The head judge will make a call on how best to drink that beverage. Remember, we're going to get four spoonfuls of liquid into that beverage. It may well be that the head judge decides that they will drink from the bowl, but at this point in time, we would be encouraging them to drink from the cupping spoon from the bowl that's been provided.
Okay.
We will make you aware of that prior to competition. Once we've had a couple of dry runs at it, we'll have an idea on what works better. and then we will communicate that to you way before competition.
A question from Honor Coffee. If it's a virtual event only, competitors and judges were mentioned, will there be a space for a coach?
There will be a space for a coach. So the question was, will there be coaches available? Yes, there will be. So there will be, we would assume restrictions, pending restrictions and what situation we're in, we would expect there to be, in your practice time, a competitor and one other person. So we would be expecting that there would be competitor, a coach and one support crew during the practice time. Those numbers will be limited to those numbers. We will not be having a fleet of people around you during your practice time. So what we are envisaging that we'll be able to do within a production schedule is have a competitor and one other person with you during your practice time to assess your coffees.
One asks if there is any modification to station dimensions to allow social distancing between judges.
At this point in time, we will be running with a standard format in terms of the benches. We are not clear on what social distancing requirements will be required at the time. If there is that requirement, we will communicate what we are going to do prior to time. We are making arrangements to work out what that could look like. There's no finalised word on that, so I can't give you the definitive answer right now. But at this point in time, we'll be running with the standard format, and the 4 sensory judges will be sitting virtually shoulder to shoulder, assuming that that is allowed. If that is not allowed, you still will be serving your beverages at the presentation table as you would normally, and potentially the judges may move in and out to assess those drinks. We will do the best we can with what we've been given in terms of what we are allowed to do at the time to make sure that we can run our nationals. We will communicate all of that to you well in advance, because we will know what those restrictions are before we call the competitions. Good question that one, but we really don't have the answer to that at this point in time.
All right, I've just asked for final questions, and
we're just waiting for any final questions to come in. Again, we'll be posting all this up on the website. We'll have some FAQs. Obviously, look at those. All of the things that I've gone through are part of the World Coffee Championships adjusted judging protocols, which are available on the WC website. We will post a link on our ASCA website to that document. But stay tuned to the ASCA channels, and we will communicate everything as it becomes clearer to us, which will make your life as easy as possible. There will not be any differences to you competitors. You should be running your routines as per normal. Anything that we need to adjust will be on the judge's part. So go with your routines as per normal. All the rest of the things that we may need to adjust to will be a judge's requirement, not a competitor requirement.
beautiful.
Okay, it doesn't seem like there's any other questions. Again, stay tuned to the ASCA channels. Look out for the newsletters and the emails and the EDMs that we will send out. All of Kieran's piece and this piece will be up on the YouTube channel for you to refer to. If you've got any of the crew who haven't been online and seen them, please refer them back to the ASCA YouTube channel so that they can re-watch these things. And if they require, you can send in any questions to competitions@aasca.com subsequent to this, and we will answer them for you in due course. Thanks to everyone for joining in. Hopefully we've cleared up as much as we possibly can. I know there's not a whole lot of definitive answers there, but we are all working to make this a successful Nationals and to give you the best opportunities to present your coffees to us. So thanks all for joining in, and we hope to see you soon. Stay well.